Oh, brother. Okay. Fifth time's a charm, I'm hoping. Here's me beautiful table. Good Sunday evening to everybody. 8:54 Pacific time. I've been working on a map today. Hopefully my pal Digital Dave, the digital dungeon master there, had to take his mom to the hospital. So my game was canceled this afternoon and I was doing some building. But I wrote down a couple of things that I want to get to first. So we're going to start my videos now with how to find my deals. If you go to the workshop and search for what is called right here, One World Game Table with Images. Just do a search for that. My table will pop up, subscribe to it, and it will be popped or populated into your workshop, at which point you can click on it and hit load, which is what we're going to do now. Changes to the current table. I have put on the table some of the, I guess the mods that I use, kind of a thing. This is a grid. This is what I use to not knock them down, but if a minion dies or an NPC dies, I use laydown. Flip Me is like another sort of grid that I was using in some of my old videos. Somebody was asking me for my lightsaber configuration. What this does is adjust the table. So if you want night, or maybe you want a color, you're playing Dark Sun or something and you want it red. Dark, morning. This one's pretty sweet. When the show is over, I like to use this, which is fade to black. And then we have normal, which is right there. So you can configure this. Lightsaber is a thing you can look up. And then lastly is second to last is my fog of war. This is the cube that I use. A lot of people are asking me about it. I prefer this fog of war to the other fog of war. I've talked about it in my videos, but some of the pieces that I do will, run the length of the table. And as soon as you bump it with your mini, the entire half of the table gets lit up. So fog of war will work fine on flat images and stuff like that, but anytime you have like height involved in it, you have to put up or do a little bit of extra work that I'm just not into doing. I don't want to spend 6 hours, 9 hours building something that's my players are going to play on for 3-hour game kind of a thing. So it's 7 area templates. I will pull these out because I did fix these and I do use them. These are fantastic because the collider is very small. So if you're playing games that you need to know, another thing you could do to get them out of the way is you could basically lock it in place, hit F8, and where the Y-axis is, you could put 50. It shoots it way up in the sky, but it leaves the ring, which is cool. So when you zoom out, you can be like, okay, this thing's way out of the way, but I can still see the area of effect shadow cast down on the ground. And yeah, those are all on the table. Let's right-click this and get rid of that. Very cool area of effect cone templates. You can increase the size of them depending on, the grid length of your table just by hitting plus or minus. They're fantastic. What else we got? So that's what's new on the table. That's where to find my table. I want to show you something cool that I did here under my saved objects. I changed some things here with my miniatures, Paper Forge, and this isn't a thing that I have seen done before, but I have done it to this. So I'm going to show you a couple things real quick here. We're going to increase the size of this by clicking on it, hitting the plus button, just so that it shows up a little bit better. These are Paper Forge minis, and this is one of his new sets called Spectral Agent. Fantastic. Actually, I'm going to show you 2 things, because if you go to saved objects, we go back and we go to Paper Forge, and we hit the end piece here. Here is a Spectral Mini. So this guy actually comes in 2 forms. So if you got a cool thief that, maybe he goes ghosty, has some kind of ghost powers or something like that, turns into a Spectral Agent. It's kind of a neat thing. There's 1 form and 2 forms. Now here's a cool thing that you can do. When you select 2 items, you can do a thing here called Create States. So I'm going to create a state. You would pass this out to your mini, and your mini will now have a thing called state, and 1 mini now becomes sort of 2 minis. Kind of neat. One of the new things that I've been doing, and I'm going to flip this guy over, is I have changed my the bottom piece of my mod, you can see how when I flipped him over, it no longer says Murder Hobo Show. I was doing something the other day and I thought to myself, you know, how could I get bloodstains down? So I'm going to do some cool stuff with these and import certain images onto the bottom parts depending on what it is that I'm doing. Like I have an idea for some chem punk stuff that's coming up through Patreon, through Paperforge, and I'm thinking rather than use the red blood, I'm going to use like a green goop when they die, which will be pretty slick. So yeah, rather than put my stupid logo on the bottom for vanity's sakes, I guess, I'm going to drop these things down here now. I just wish that I could get them to go a little bit lower, but I'm not overly concerned about it. Like it would be nice to get rid of the shadow and just have them do something like that. I think in order to get that fixed or to set it up like that, I need the collider on the bottom to be very thin and moved closer to the bottom of the image, but that is a Blender thing that I do not have the skill to do. So maybe Spided or somebody can goof around with that a little bit and try and figure it out, because the casting the shadow thing is a little bit weird. Or maybe I could take it, let's see, I think I could do toggles. I'm not sure where. Sticky reveal fog of war. Just wondering if there's a switch to turn off these things casting shadows. They don't seem to cast shadows when they're up, but I guess he's paper thin. So, okay. Anyways, I want to get sidetracked here. So that's where you find my table. That's what's on my table. This is a new cool idea for you guys that I was just goofing around with on the bottom of these minis that I make, my paper minis. Yeah, a little blood spatter. It's pretty sweet. Okay, so let's go to my beautiful work table. Nice, plain, simple work table. There is nothing to this table. I keep my lightsaber on it just for, you know, and my new 3D just for checking stuff. I screwed up. I got to go back. One world game table. Load this table is very simple. Click the eye, hit the lock. Sometimes it might pop up and say update there. Here's the main table. There is 3 tables. There is more than one table. This link will take you to table 2. This link will take you to the brand new 3rd table. We have now had or built enough maps or collected enough maps that we now need a 3rd table. And I need to show you something because it's going to lead into the table that I built today. 3rd table starts off with Hidden Cove. This is last week's table that I built. This thing turned out fantastic. I love it. I think it's spectacular. I can't wait to smash my characters with it. This next map is going to lead into a thing. So the premise with Hidden Cove is that you've parked your ship out into the ocean somewhere. You dropped anchor, put her in P for park. You've canoed, rowboated, dinghied, whatever you want to call it, through some kind of rocks. Rocks that could possibly smash your boat, and successfully made it to shore. So there's a bit of a dramatic task going on. You make it to shore, and then we've got rocks for cover. Something's in it. There's a cave back in this little area here that comes out. Who knows what it is? Your choice, your call. Why your players are here. Maybe they're here for these golden eggs that I put up in these nests or something along those lines. Not 100% sure. But I've set the next map up, not Hidden Cove, the new one that we're going to show you right now. I don't have to save anything because I need to do some other stuff. So let's go back to the work table. There's the Hidden Cove. This map can connect to the Hidden Cove. Press the eye, press the lock. I will put this map onto the other one. I have called it Ocean Planks. 5th time is a charm because I forgot to mention that this map was created by Dice Grimorium. I found it on Reddit under Battlemaps. So if you want a non-gridded version and you want to do it yourself kind of a thing, you can go hit him up on Patreon. My Patreon got a little bit out of control. I was probably spending about $100 a month, and my wife said that I no longer had a hobby, I had a habit. So my D&D crack habit and my RPG crack habit needed to be nipped in the bud, and I had to cancel a few things. So now sadly, I have to use the gridded maps because my wife spanked my pee-pee and said I was being bad. So that's my sad story. Okay, so this map is like not a continuation of, but maybe a sidestep to, or let's say in addition to. Your party gets the golden eggs. They row back out to the boat only to find that something has happened. The captain has been taken by these bullywugs. They rowed over, scooped him off the boat. There was a battle, leaving most of the crew, knocked out, KO'd, unconscious, whatever. But they've taken the mighty captain. The mighty captain is the only one that can drive, control, fly, move, manipulate the boat. So this is going to be some kind of a chase scene for me. I'm going to make my players make dexterity checks or agility checks if you're playing Savage Worlds, anything along those lines to make it across these rocks. Every time they jump from one section to the next, they are going to have to make some kind of check. Barring a success, I don't even know if that sounds right. If they succeed, they land on the rocks. If they fail, they land in the drink. Once they're in the drink, there is a good possibility that these Kraken tentacles are going to latch onto them and drag them under to their demise. One of the cool things about this is I would forego hit points and let your players know ahead of time. You want to do some dastardly stuff as a D&D or as a DM to your players, just let them know ahead of time. Throw your cards on the table. You're like, listen, boys and girls, I don't want to be sexist, but my group is all male, so that just came out of my head. Anyways, I'm rambling. So I'd be like, listen, boys and girls, you are going to need to make dexterity checks at either disadvantage. If you're playing D&D, ICRPG would be hard check, something along those lines. -2 if you're playing Savage Worlds across these slippery, slimy boards. This one is going to be a 10-foot fall down to your into the rocks where you're going to have a hard check to get back up. This one here, maybe you bash off this rock, land in the drink, but it's a hard check no matter what. A difficult check to get across these planks because they're covered in seaweed, slop, and moist. You fall into the drink, and then it's a battle with the Kraken. You're duking the Kraken out. The Kraken's going to grab onto you. They have a modified strength check so that they get some decent chance to pull you under and hold you under, wrap you up, strap you up. And you got to fight the Krakens while you're under the drink there. If you remain under the drink for 3 rounds, you're toast. That's it. Your character drowns. You're done. Set the hard rule up ahead of time so that when you don't just spring that kind of stuff on your players and they're looking at you going like, WTF kind of a deal. So, but at least that sets the tension for this map, which is kind of a neat thing. And you set it ahead of time. Also, Captain is being moved every round farther down. So your players got to make some hard choices. Are we going to fight this guy? Are we going to try and just, push this guy into the drink? How are we going to dispatch this guy so that we can run across these planks and get to the captain before he gets sacrificed by the Queen Bullywug, who is back here with her royal army? The Queen Bullywug has summoned this evil Kraken, and she's going to sacrifice your captain to him to appease him. Now, the Krakens, you could push them off, you could do whatever, but that's sort of the gist of this map. This would be like sort of a part 2. And that's what I was thinking when I saw this map. I'm like, this is actually going to be kind of cool because now I have 2 maps, and that's 2 parts to a story. One of the things, too, that I find really funny and sort of weird, being that I'm an old guy, I played a lot of old D&D adventure modules and stuff like that. It's funny that the treasure is dropped on the players at the end. So you go through this hardship, and then right at the end, you fight the dragon. Boom, you got all the treasure. 4 or 5 hours, you're into it, but you can't do nothing with your new loot. So I think it's kind of cool that this map sort of gives you the loot up front. You roll in, you grab the eggs, but now you can't get away. You got all this stuff. Maybe they find some magic items in there. Who knows what's in those nests? What they find, pick up off the shore, what these birds are scavenging. Who's been here before kind of a thing. And maybe give them a couple magic items right out of the gate so that they actually have them while they're playing this adventure. You're going to hear a clink. That's my glass. I just put it down. Oh, I got to lock this sucker. No, I don't. But I got to delete some of these things off. Anyways, that's my idea. I don't want to ramble too much. I just want to try and keep these videos short. I say that all the time, and they end up being like 35 minutes long, which I think is just too much. So this is the new map. It's going to be called Ocean Planks. What reason are you going to, what are you going to put here to challenge your players? That's just one idea that I came up with. So yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks, everybody. I'm out of here. Adios.